Looking at True Grit now, was there anything about, I don't know, just the way that set was run, the people that you were working with, anything at all that makes you think when you look back on it, thank God I had that first big Hollywood experience on that film with them?
Everything about it. I can't even begin to tell you. It's so wild that that was my first legitimate experience because it was all around. I mean, I want to say just it was so wonderful. It was so seamless and so um, fun. I mean, it was a bunch of people who really cared and were so just equally as passionate about one thing and one thing only, and that was the art and making this the best it could be, and going home to their families every night and coming back to work and having the most fun, but taking it seriously enough. And it was just an amazing dynamic. It was always the tone and the vibe was always just so positive and calm and just a wonderful work environment to be in. I realize how lucky it's been 10 years and I've done quite a few, I've been on quite a few sets since then that are not necessarily like that. And it's really a blessing when you get an amazing group of people like that and it just runs seamlessly.
Is there anything in particular that you kind of absorbed from your experience making that you, especially as a leader now, because it's important to be number one on the call sheet and help set the tone, that you've absorbed from them and brought to your own sets now?
100%. I feel like, I definitely do feel like with every job I do, there is some point that I feel, whether it's something I'm doing, something I'm feeling, something I'm thinking, the way something is going down, True Grit pops back into my mind. And there's always a moment from that I feel either influenced the way I am now or how I, handle certain situations. I don't know. I do feel like I constantly refer back to that experience and try and pull on whatever it was that I learned and held on to because it was great.
I always like to ask about, bumps in the road and how you overcame them. And I brought this up with Asa as well. I am a huge Ender's Game fan. And I told him one of my favorite set visits, I love the book and I thought the adaptation was great. And, it upset me a good deal when that didn't take off as I was hoping it would. So from your perspective, especially given the fact that that was one of your very first, potential franchise starters, how was it kind of, dealing with that bit of disappointment when it didn't take off and spawn more films?
It's always so weird when you hear that it's going to be something, it's going to be big, it's going to be here, it's going to go there, it's going to be all these things. And then when it's not that, you feel like you have failed. One thing I have realized is, I guess here's the thing I guess I kind of learned or picked up on when making True Grit. We shot that film and it came out I want to say the same year. It was a very quick turnaround, regardless of what it was. And it obviously ran the awards circuit and all of that. And not once during the making of that film was anything said about awards or, a wide release or what all of these terms that are thrown around as far as this thing's going to be huge, and maybe there was, and I just wasn't aware of it. But it basically what I'm getting at is for me, of course, you always hope that it's going to be something earth shattering and unbelievable and a moment of history. It's not always about that. It's never really been about that for me. I feel very lucky that I do feel like the projects I have done, the majority of them have been seen by the right people. And I just feel very fortunate for that. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing too. I mean, I remember when I did True Grit, everybody told me your life's about to change. Like, you're not gonna be able to walk outside, all this shit. And I was just like, none of that. It's not, I mean, you do the work because you love it and whoever sees it, sees it. And I think I've also had to accept that there becomes a time where it's out of my hands. And, you know, I always used to kind of hang on to those things. Like I said, that doesn't happen. And all suddenly it was my performance, or I failed, or it was me, or whatever. But, you know, it comes a point where, you know, it's out of your hands.